Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Country Living and another review. This is Monday, and Monday's when we do our reviews on authentic items. Just remember that. The only clones, I've had people ask me every time I get something new, is it a clone? Listen, the only thing that's going to be a clone in my videos are on Friday. Friday is the clone show. That's where the clones are. Everything else, any other device that comes up, is authentic, including today's. This is the SMM RTA from Wotofo and Suck My Mod. Alright guys, I have had this SMM for a few weeks now. I mean, I got it like the week of release, without a doubt. And anybody who follows my Instagram, my social media, my Facebook, who's in my Facebook group, know that I'm not a huge fan of this thing, and they know why. And you're going to know why by the end of this video. But nevertheless, I mean, I've said I wasn't going to do this thing because it wasn't going to be good. Now, I've rethought that thought because just because I don't like something does not mean you will not like it. I go through products and I give my opinions and I give what I find, and you know, you base your decision off of that. These are just strictly my opinions of the way I like to vape, and whether something works for me or not is totally just my preference. But again, that doesn't mean just because I don't like something does not mean you won't like it. So I'm going to go ahead and show this off to you, show how it comes, show you how to put a build in it, break it down for you, and let you make your own determination up. And then we're going to come back up, vape on it, and I'm going to tell you all my thoughts of why this one is just not for me. Alright guys, this is the Serpent SMM from Wotofo, and SMM is Suck My Mod. He is a YouTube reviewer. He's quite an influential YouTube reviewer. A guy that I've watched a lot of times, and yeah, so, and I do support, I like to try to support the reviewer's products. So let's get into this and see what the package comes in. Now, starters, everybody has said this, that fucking generic ass Google image wallpaper. That's like something made in Cinema 4D. What the hell? Let's say Wotofo, and you can see here that I got the black one. This is your scratch and sniff. It contains one Serpent SMM, one bag of extra screws and O-rings, one bag of extra coils, one piece screwdriver, one piece user manual, and one bag of Japanese cotton. And you can read all these attention stuff if you care to do so. Made in China, manufactured by Wotofo. Of course, I like this information here. Advocacy, we as vapors, I say this all the time, as vapors, we all need to do this as a whole. CASA and SFATA. If you're not a member, please go sign up, CASA.org or sfata.org, SFATA. So we open it up, and you are presented with a Wotofo giveaway card. Tells you how to enter, and more advocacy information. More companies should do this. And then we have the Wotofo Serpent SMM user manual, multilingual, and then you have your 2 spare glass. You have the SMM itself, and you have a 510 drip tip. Let's see, this is a little kind of moisty inside here just because I just got done cleaning it. I haven't used this thing for quite a while. I've just been on my stand, but I just decided to clean it so I can go ahead and do this review, because I've thought about not, I mean, I've said this before already, not doing the review on this, but I feel that it's needed to be done, because I'm not the end-all of anything. Just because I'm not a fan of something does not mean other people aren't. You have 3 of these packets right here. One, as I can tell by feeling it, this is cotton. I'm not going to use that. This, I can tell by feeling it, is O-rings and extra screws. We are not going to use that. This, I can tell by feeling it, is the coils. We are going to use one of these coils because I hear they are quite good. 4 wrap. They look like triple core. Can't really tell without my magnifier or without my macro. And I'm sorry, these are 5 wrap coils. So we're going to use one of these to put in as a build here in just a few minutes after we take a look at the RTA. Well, here we go. This is the RTA, and it does say Serpent SMM on the inside chimney. And it has the SMM logo on the opposite side of the chimney. Now we start with the drip tip. This is a 510 standard drip tip. I'm not a big fan of. I think the community now has a standard that it needs to go by. I think they should come with a wide bore drip tip, the 810, goon style, Kennedy style, whatever you want to call it, and then give you adapters to choose what other size you may want. If you want to downsize, you can. The issue with having a tip, an airflow hole that's small, is you cannot increase it, but you can always make something smaller. So make it the wide bore and let someone with an adapter make it smaller if they choose to, because when you don't have, I know this is the way this is designed, so if that's not what you're into, you don't want to pick this up or anything like this up. But if you want to appease to the masses, that's what you have to do. You can always cut things down, you just cannot remove metal. You get what I'm saying? Alright, so that's just my opinion. Right, so if we take this apart, we'll look at the deck here in just a moment. Take this glass off, it's pretty easy. Put your one finger inside the chimney, squeeze the glass one side, squeeze the glass the other side, it'll pop it right off the O-ring. Nice size juice ports to get to fill your juice your tank up. There's a closer and a better look of the SMM logo along with the Serpent SMM engraving. You have an O-ring right here, which is what your tank, your glass attaches to, so it doesn't leak. If you look inside the chimney here, it's not too conical, but you notice that corner right there is not really a corner, it's curved somewhat, so it's pretty low profile. Should be your coils will be like your coil rather will be right there at that hole, so it should provide great flavor. And this is the top cap itself. It just screws right down onto the top. It's a little stiff though, a little tight, which is probably, I mean, it's good because it won't leak, but it could be, if you don't tighten enough, it'll come off, but if you tighten it too much, thinking it's not tight enough, then it'll be hard to get off later. So we're going to put this on last. Putting it back together. And here is your glass. Notice all three pieces of glass are the same height. No way to increase the amount of juice this can hold. And I can't find anywhere on the packaging or in the manual to where it says how much juice this tank does hold. Maybe it's on the website somewhere, but it's not in the manual or on the packaging, which is where I think it should be. Alright, so let's take a look at the build deck. It's pretty unique. I mean, it's from what I understand, it's been done before, but you can tell by looking, here's where your wick ports are. Put your wicks down in the holes, and you got a pretty massive amount of area down there below the actual deck. What do they call this? A GTA style deck? Or a floating deck? So it's the amount of juice in the tube can be a little deceiving when you have the barrel on, because there's so much under here. So it's going to hold more than you think. So that's probably why, because they got this whole bottom cap here able to take a lot of juice of why it's so small. It's compact. Notice here's the bottom airflow. Closes off all the way this way, all the way that way. It is independent airflow, meaning that the airflow does not go all the way through. It goes to the center post and then stops, but it does stop in each direction. And the bottom, it does say Suck My Mod, Wotofo, and the Wotofo website. It is a semi-protruding 510 pin. I wouldn't use it on a hybrid personally. Use your best judgment. You're the vapor. Don't be a stat. But you got 4 options of screwing here, or 2 different ways. You can either do a coil to where, so if you put a coil in that's wrapped this way, which is wrapped under the driver, and you put it in this way, it would go on this side and this side, and that would mean the coil would be up Or if you wanted to go down, you'd flip the coil and it would use the other posts. And when it's down, it is closer to the bottom of the deck. But the way this airflow is, it might be best because the airflow comes not from the bottom, but from these little holes on the side. This is where the airflow comes from. So your coil wants to be right in between those. So we'll check that out. We'll adjust it accordingly as we put the build in. Speaking of which, let's put this build in this thing right now. Now, there is a pretty important thing you need to know here, is that when you trim your leads off is because there is very close proximity from the inside of the chimney to when you screw this thing down. You need to make sure that this thing is very flush, even to the point to where it's like an inside this little curvature here. So we're going to try to get it as close as we can. Alright, so those should be good. So now that we got a little piece of coil here, let's rip off the wrap. These are quad cores. These are quad cord fuse Claptons. Like 28 gauge. 28, 38 perhaps. Alright, so there's that. Alright, so now that we got everything clipped up and tripped up, we need to look at our airflow and get this thing adjusted before we start firing on this. That right there looks about right, because what you're going to see is the hose right there, the bottom airflow, the bottom hose will go towards the bottom, and this top is going to cut the top half. So airflow is going to come in on all sides and just go straight up through the coil into your mouth. So that's going to be great positioning for this coil. So I did it curve side up, and I took it down just a little bit, and it's right in the middle. So let's work it. So right now it is a 0.14 cold. It'll probably come out to about a 0.2. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. So right now it's pretty hot, so it's showing a 0.27, but once it cools back down, it'll be right around 0.23, 0.24, somewhere in there. So let's let it cool down, we'll put some wick in it, and then we'll start juicing her up, fill her up, and go back up top and talk about it. Alright, so I have had this thing for a while, and when it comes to the wicking part, I mean, it's pretty particular. You need to know, you need to wick this properly to get any performance or flavor out of it. And what I found is best is to go just right here, fold it over, right here to the top of the ring, just cut it right there, top of the base. And once you figure out where it's at, just kind of eyeball it. Alright, so there's that. Now, so see, you got to go down in these holes. You really need to fluff this thing out. I mean, this is a key on RTAs that I have talked about on a few of my RTA videos. This is a very important step in RTAs, and that's just thinning this wick out. Don't worry about the cotton inside. The cotton inside of the coil is going to be nice and thick. You just need to thin this out so it can bring that juice up from the bottom into the coil. So these really need to be brushed out pretty thin. You need to thin this out quite a bit. I wouldn't say quite half, but well, first of all, you don't want to have a whole lot of cotton here to begin with. Maybe a 3mm ID, but you probably don't want to use as much cotton as you normally do. So pull off the little extra fuzzies. Do a little doop, 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 doop. Kind of mush them together just a little bit. And then grab your tweezies and push them down into the hole. Down into the wick slots. Alright, now you can see that the wick comes down, it's just below the ring there, and you can see right here, I got plenty of room, plenty of motion for my cotton. They're not tight in here at all. Plenty of room, plenty of airflow to go through in and out, and this will wick up very, very nicely. It will wick your juice just fine. So the juice we're going to be using today is, I got me a fresh supply of my favorite, so far my favorite vape juice of all time, Beard Vape Company number 32. It is a cinnamon funnel cake, and it's just delightful. So what we're going to do, first of all, let me shake this up some. We're going to add a little bit to the coil. Okay, that's plenty for the prime. So let's go ahead and screw on the chimney. So let's fill this thing up. Alright, I didn't fill it all the way up because this is my favorite juice, and I'm pretty sure I already know how this thing vapes. I don't want to use my favorite juice or waste a whole tank of my favorite juice for a review. But you guys are worth a few mils anyway. So that's what I do for y'all. I waste a couple mils of my juice for you. Alright, so let's go back up and talk about this thing some more. Alright, so that was the SMM, the Suck My Mod RTA from Wotofo. You heard some things, the reason I don't like it is just because the 510 thing, drip tip, that's not a deal breaker for me. But let's vape on it and we'll talk some more about it. So right now I got this is the 0.24 build on the Captain PD270, and we're going to start at 50 watts. Now 50 watts is way lower than I normally do, but we're going to start here. A lot of vapor production. And since I know what this juice tastes like, which is why I chose this particular one, because I vape this more than anything else, outside of my blue, but it's just right here in front of me. It's got some good flavor, 50 watts, but it's not a satisfying vape for me. So let's bump it up. Let's go to 75 watts. Oops. Fine, 76.7, that's where I stopped. Still good vapor production, a little better flavor. Now let's go to 100 watts. And notice right now I'm kind of chain vaping, right? Kind of. We are at 100 watts. That's where it's dead for me, because I'll tell you why. At 100 watts, those back-to-back flavors, puffs I just did, flavor's gone. Start getting dry hits. It's not wicking fast enough for me. It's the coil bit. I've tried 2.5 millimeters. I've tried 3 millimeters, and I just now tried the ones that come with it. These 0.25 ohm coils that came with it, the quad fuse Claptons. I've tried triple fuses. I've tried dual fuses, and I've tried 0.08 builds. I've tried 2.5 builds. I've tried 3.0 builds. I've tried 4 millimeter builds. I've tried many builds in this thing. But for me to get a satisfying vape the way I like, it's around 110, 115 range. That's wattage. And, you know, get a couple of vapes back to back to back, you know, and most of the time I can get them with no flavor loss and no dry hits. But on this one, I just cannot get that. Not to mention, airflow's fine, but when you're firing, see if you can hear this. You hear that crackling? It's spit back. I get a lot of spit back in my mouth, which I don't really mind too much because it just enhances the flavor to me. But and it's not the wicking. It's the design. I just don't think it's a very good design. Personally, for me, my opinion, do not think it's a very good design. It is not a vape for me. 100 watts right now. That was a good hit, but watch this one. No, not a good hit. And you saw how thin I got the wicks out. You saw how thin and how much room I got in there. And some might argue, well, that's not enough wick. I've tried it full. I've tried it less. This is medium here. This is the best that I've found it for the way that I vape. Now again, at 50 watts, you don't have that issue. 60 watts, you don't have that issue. Around between 80 to 100 is where that issue starts arising. Now I can dig this at 100 watts. I mean, I could do a 0.25 to 100 watts and I get the warmth that I like and get a satisfying vape because of my funky. I run this funky at 100 watts all the time on various builds, 0.15, 0.16, and that range normally, and I get a satisfying vape. But when I have like on this Captain here in the Springer RTA, I have a 0.1 build, and I go to a 140 watts to get, or 150 sometimes to get that satisfying vape. So it's variable range for me. Just this does not fit in my realm, my vaping realm, for me specifically. But you know, I don't like only the 510. I think the industry has a saying now. You can set them up close. You can always close down the airflow. You just can't add airflow when you start off small. You just can't do it. I think the industry and I think the vaping community expect their 810 wide bore drip tips. Again, I pointed out that maybe it's not designed for that. So if you know that going in, you're just not going to buy it. That's just totally your call. So if you buy something that doesn't have what you're looking for, then you can only blame yourself, right? So I can only blame me for buying something that does not have a specific feature that I do not like. That's all you can do. You cannot blame anybody else, the designer or anything, for something that you buy for something you don't like. Now, the flavor, like I said, when it gets to 100 watts or more, it just dies out. You might get one good hit, but you still get that gurgly spit back effect, and you just lose it after a couple back-to-back hits. Now, back-to-back is not chain vaping, y'all. Okay, 4, 5, 6, that's chain vaping. But back-to-back, I should still have full flavor from the beginning to the end. I just should. But size capacity is not bad because this whole bottom area here holds a lot of juice. And I figure this thing holds about maybe 3 or 4 millimeters, which is good, which is a good size for an RTA. It is pretty low profile, so it's not too big, so it's not going to be heavy, top heavy or anything. So that's something that I like about it because it's not too heavy. The airflow, that's wide open. Let's go at about 3/4. Let's go halfway. And let's go down to about 1/4, right there. See, I just sucked up some juice from just doing that. I wasn't even firing, just drying. So, but I like this. I like this full, wide open. A lot of spit back in this thing. I don't understand what a spit back is like that. I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about it, but just a number of things that it's just not for me, y'all. It really isn't. If you like this thing, if you love it, because I know John, he's like, dude, why do you like this thing so much? He got it and he loves it. It works well for him. But he also admitted too, at 50 watts, it works well for him. But I'm not a 50 watt vapor. I just cannot get a satisfying vape at 50 watts. If you're a 50, 60, 70 watt vapor, then yes, this is probably for you. If you're anything above that on a regular basis, then it is not for you. But I mean, that's my findings on this thing. That's my opinion on the SMM Suck My Mod mat from Wotofo RTA. Take it as you will, grain of salt. However, that's just my personal feelings on it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for getting us to the 1K. And if you haven't gotten to the giveaway for the 1K video yet, the link will be right up here for you to go check that video out and explain every way you can get into the giveaway. Thank you very much for your support. And until next video, just keep on vaping and living, baby.